Hey guys, what's up? On this tutorial we'll keep making math operations on Game Creator 2, but today we're taking a look on geometry, which will be most important on our God of War X tutorial. Remember to subscribe so you never miss a new tutorial. Let's get into it. As we've seen for arithmetic, you can also find information on the documentation for geometry instructions and conditions. Let's take a look on them inside of Unity. So first the instructions, let's open them. Geometry, we have add directions, which add two values that represent a direction. We have add points, which is pretty much the same, but with points instead of directions. We have clamp, which clamps values between fixed values of minimum and maximum. And we have clamp dynamic, which can clamp between two dynamic values. We also have cross and dot product. We have distance, normalize, project on plane, reflect on plane, remap coordinates, scale product. We have a set direction, set point, a set for each vector component, a subtract directions, points, and we have the transforms to local direction, to local point, toward direction, and toward point, and also the uniform scale. Let's take a look on some of these instructions and how they work. So we have a set direction that could be set with the facing direction from player +1 on Z. We also have a set for each component, so this is a set Y that are being set from a random range, from the position, from a transform point from player from -0.5 on Y to 0.5 on Y. So this will change a Y value to the player's Y value on the range of +0.5 or -0.5. We also can calculate distance that can be saved to variables or other types of properties. So distance from point 1 to point 2, you could have a self position to player position. This will calculate the distance from self to player and save on a local variable. The most useful, or at least the most that we will be using, it's the change position and change rotation, that you can change the position or the rotation of any objects. As for arithmetic, whenever you see a decimal, here whenever you see a direction or a vector, you will find math operations that can be done on that. So we can set the position of an object by adding the positions of two objects. We could make a linear interpolation or a sphere interpolation, which would give a rated value between a position 1 to a position 2. There are plenty of stuff that can be done, and this will be related to your use case, so by what you need to do, you will try to find the correct math operations here. We can also change the rotation of an object, and we can set it as values for each Euler angles. So as we can see decimal here, we can make arithmetic operations as we've seen before, but we also have some for geometry for these decimal values, as you can see here. So directions, angle absolute, signed, the modulo number and the actual number, the dot product, and this would be for Euler angles, so for changing each angle. But we can have math operations here as away direction, from to direction, inverse rotation, multiply rotations, towards direction, and towards position. I'll show some examples with them after the conditions. So now let's take a look on the conditions. For conditions, it will be pretty straightforward. So we can check distance. This is very useful on the melee modulo, so you can play different attacks based on the distance that you have from the player or from your target. You can also compare directions, and when we talk on directions, there are plenty of math operations that can be done. add, cross product, dot product, from position, from rotation, invert direction. There's plenty of stuff. You guys must check it out, because it's not something that I will show in one video and you will know everything. It's important that you guys try to do some stuff, try to do some systems, some different logics, being creative on these operations. You can also have, so this is on physics, a check sphere, but could be raycast, that have vector values. So this is a check sphere. It comes like this. So check sphere at a position, and this position can be set by the transform point from player on Z1. This would make a sphere cast on a position of 1 on Z ahead of the player with a 0.5 of radius decimal. This can be used as an example for checking floor. So if there is floor ahead of the character. There are a few more options on conditions for math geometry, but they are mostly straightforward as the ones we already seen. I've made some examples so we can see in play mode how this works. So I have this sphere with some triggers. First one is rotating self towards direction of game object direction main camera. So on the value, I'm using the math towards direction of game object direction main camera. The second one, it rotates self towards player position. So on value, math towards position from self position towards player position. And there is this one on jump that will move this object on a random position that will be set by this sphere surface plus the player position plus 1 on Y, which is the transform point. Okay, let's enter play mode and take a look on them. Okay, so for our first trigger, let's take a look on it. As we can see, it turns the object towards the direction of the camera. So if I look up, it rotates up, and if I look down, it will rotate down. Okay, let's take a look on the second one, which rotates towards the player. So player is here. If I run it, it rotates the object towards the player. If I come to here and play it again, it will rotate the object towards the player position. Okay, now let's see the jump one. So as I jump, the sphere randomly moves around these sphere surface points with this transform point of +1 on Y from the player position. Okay, very nice, this one. I've made another example. This one it's quite different. So if you want to make some fairy follower or an Oriana ball, this could be easily done with just a few math operations. So as you can see here, I have this trigger on interval of 0.5 that is moving this object with a add position of transform point from player plus 1.5 on Y on the sphere surface of 2. And I'm also rotating it with a trigger on interval of 0.3, and I'm adding a rotation of Euler angles on the X and the Y. These rotation values you could also make with math, so away direction, from to direction. There's plenty to be done, and these decimal values, as we saw on arithmetic, they can be calculated with the arithmetic operations. So as you can see, it's very nice. It randomly moves around me, and it kind of follows me because it uses my positioning. So yeah, that's it. If you want to make some fairy following you around, this could be easily done with these two triggers, and it looks very nice. But that's it for this tutorial, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Remember to subscribe and give a like to help the channel grow. These first videos on math operations are a basis for what will come next. because these things can get quite complex. But for now, we have a nice basis on how to do arithmetic and geometry math operations with Game Creator 2. So, next tutorial will finally be our God of War's X-Throw. Let me make you guys want it a bit here. Let me show you. So, what we will be learning is to throw the X as Kratos does and call it back. This is awesome, and these math operations will help us a lot to make this working. Okay guys, see you in the next one. Cheers!